all my friends present, past and beyond, especially those who weren't with us too long. Life is the most precious thing you can lose. While you were here, the fun was never ending. Life a minute was only beginning. Captain Colvin Nichols, this one's for you!
Hello and welcome to the Hit Podcast. I am your host, Eric Ruth, and today we're joined by Jay. Jay has gone through some stuff, and Jay thinks he's overcome it. We're going to find out the truth today to see if he's really done the work to overcome his trauma. Jay has agreed to be put under oath. I am going to depose him to find out the truth. Jay, how you doing?
Doing well.
Good. Do you agree, affirm, or swear that you will give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you someone's God?
Absolutely.
Where did you come out of and whom?
Well, as we talked before, I came out of a mom I didn't know and was given up for adoption. And I didn't know who she was until, let's see, 3 or 4 years ago. I found out who she was.
So where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Detroit, Michigan, for about 10 years. And then we moved to a place called Lewiston, which is up near Gaylord, Michigan.
Siblings?
I have a sister who was adopted 2 years after I was. And then I also found out when I was 23 that I have a full-blood brother from my parents, birth parents, who got together again, had him, and gave him up for adoption too.
So, what is your trauma?
Trauma would probably be that abandonment feeling for a good portion of my life until I'd say just recently, just kind of dealt with all that stuff. So,
when did you find out you were adopted?
Oh, early on, as early as I can remember. My parents were very, very open, and like they always said that, they're the lucky ones because they got to pick who they wanted as a kid, as a son, daughter.
Sure. So how did your trauma manifest itself? How did it show up and affect your life?
I think in just in relationships, especially obviously with the opposite sex. It seemed like all the relationships that I was in, and I'm not saying that I'm by far perfect or anything. I take my share of the blame in relationships, but the feeling of abandonment where the person I was with would leave me for someone else or something better. So that feeling always just kind of never truly went away.
When was the first time that all of that trauma reared its ugly head inside of one of your relationships?
That I noticed it, or looking back on it now?
Yeah, looking back on it now. You may not have been aware of it, but you can see that it happened then.
Probably, probably in college, honestly. I really didn't date in high school. I had girls that I wanted to date, but they didn't want to date me. So, yeah.
Okay. When was your first marriage?
First marriage was right in, let's see, 1987, right out of college.
And how long did that last?
Roughly 4 years. Roughly 4 years.
And any children from that marriage?
No.
Okay. So you are in your early to mid 20s coming out of that marriage. What's your life look like next?
Kind of up in the air. I had just gotten my nursing degree. Obviously I was living in Michigan at the time, and for whatever reason, I had this burning desire to move to North Carolina. Even when I was in high school, I wanted to live in North Carolina. So I literally packed up my car with my clothes, my stereo, my baseball stuff, and my walk. And I moved to North Carolina and lived there for the next 25, 30 years.
All right. And this is where you meet your next wife, correct?
Yes. I met her when I was working in a children's emergency room. I was a emergency room nurse. Met her. We got together. You know, we got married probably about a year and a half after we had met. So I got married in '97, and she had a child of her own at the time who was 3. I ended up adopting him when he was 13, and then we had one of our own. And the difference in age, there was about 6 years. So um, that one lasted 12 years.
And how did your trauma show up in that relationship?
Very similar. She ended up leaving me for greener pastures, let's say. And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
The audience can figure that out.
So when did you become aware that your trauma had been affecting your daily life and your relationships?
It honestly, I still don't think it registered with me then. I think it was after I started doing some counseling, that the counselor actually brought that up, is that spirit of abandonment, that feeling of abandonment was just very, very prevalent in my life. And she had said that she had worked with other people who were adopted, and they felt the exact same way. That feeling or spirit of abandonment was just a very, very overpowering spirit at times.
Okay. After your second marriage ended,
Mm-hmm.
greener pastures,
Yep.
how long was it before you got married again?
So let's see, 4 years.
Okay.
So we got several. Well, our divorce was official in 2012. I didn't get remarried for the last time until 2016.
Okay. So tell me what you were like as a person. Let me take a step back, strike that. Have you done any work to deal with your trauma in between your second and third marriage?
Yeah, I did do some counseling then. Went to a really good counselor who really kind of made me kind of see what was going on with me, why things were happening the way they were, and how I would literally pick the same type of person. Like, I mean, looking all the way back into college days, it was like, yep, same person, yep, same person, same person, same person. Um, and this one is not the same person.
Okay, so it leads to my next question, which you kind of already answered, but when did you become acutely aware that your trauma and how it had affected things and then able to break that cycle?
I'd say probably, like, you want me to give you the year roughly?
No, just in the time frame between those relationships. Was it before you met your current wife?
Yeah. Actually, no. It was a little bit before I met my current wife, but also during the process. I did a lot of work on myself then, and I mean, still continue to this day to do work on myself.
Well, let me ask you about that. What was the work that you started doing?
So I started doing. I got up with a woman named Nicole Harmony, who you had on your program. Um, she really did wonders for me as far as she has this. Gosh, I forget what the terminology. Sorry, Nicole, exactly the phrase for it, but basically, it was taking me back to my childhood days, where I would literally, close my eyes, imagine myself in my younger child's body, and going through the things that happened to me back then, and basically those markers along the way, those kids or those children along the way that I was, the small of me, were holding contracts, and were not letting me move out of that contract until I was able to rip it up, or they were able to rip it up with me. And so then we integrated back into the adult Jay. And yeah, it's just, I mean, every time we did it, it was just a almost like a weight being lifted off my shoulders. It was very, very therapeutic.
Sure. How much of that work do you do today?
I do. I don't do the going back to my childhood type stuff, but I do. I'm trying to do the meditation more. I'm trying to just quiet my spirit at times, quiet my mind, um, just take in all that's around me. I try to focus on the positive aspects of my life instead of the negatives. I try to be more of an optimist than a pessimist.
What do you do when you're triggered these days?
Um, as you and I talked, I try to be stoic, but I fail miserably at that. And you know, when I do get triggered, I do try to just not say anything, just absorb whatever I just heard or my trigger and try and work through it within a brief 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever. Um, and a lot of times I don't do well with that. I react and then I got to regroup and try to do it better next time.
I, I've had a lot of questions from people that ask me, do you think that overcoming trauma is something that people can be like force fed, that you can try to sell to somebody before they're ready to take it? What's your opinion? Do you think if somebody would have tried to sell you this stuff when you were 15, 20, 25, 30, that you would have bit and you would have taken it?
No, no. I think just like with anything, whether you're an alcoholic, whether you're into drugs, whatever, you get to a point where it's like, okay, something's got to change here. I don't like the way this is going. I don't like the way I'm living. I don't like the way I'm feeling. Something's got to change. And so then someone comes along and says, I can, I can help you do this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm ready for that.
All right. Well, what was it for you?
Just that feeling of like I'm not good enough type thing. There must be a reason why everyone's leaving me, because I must not be good enough. And then realizing I'm more than good enough. I'm quite exceptional, I'll have you know.
How did you feel about getting vulnerable?
It was honestly it was a little scary. It was honestly, it was one thing being vulnerable with Nicole, and doing the work we did, but then she, one of the things we recorded, she put up on Facebook. Now that I felt vulnerable. I mean, everyone that that saw my page. But I tell you what, I got so many people saying that was amazing that you were able to do that. So, a lot of good came out of it.
That's good. So, what do you do today on a day-to-day basis to maintain your resilience and walk away from triggers if you feel them?
Right now, I'm in a kind of like an online men's group, um, that we focus on stoicism. We focus on uh, staying in shape, lifting weights, taking your issues to the gym, also dealing with, we have like 20 guys in the group dealing with whatever guys deal with. Some guys deal with drug addiction, some guys deal with alcoholism. And then we're there as a collective to lift these guys up, to help them through this. But also, the coaches that we have are just phenomenal. They're just very solid guys. Some of the guys are from the military. And being in the military, I can relate to a lot of those, what some of the stuff they say and the way we act and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what I do now.
Okay. So inside that group, of course, you mentioned stoicism. It's near and dear to my heart. I've been practicing stoicism for about 10 years. What can you tell me you've gotten out of it so far?
Um, it's a daily practice. It's not something you're going to, yeah, I got it. Stoicism, got it. Um, it's something I have to work on daily. Um, with work, with the marriage, with kids. It's a constant work in progress, and it's definitely a challenge at times, and it's other times it's very, very easy at times. But I like the fact that um, my emotions, when I try and practice stoic, or when I do practice stoicism, my emotions aren't, you know, like um, a scope going up and down, up and down, up and down. It's just kind of and maybe a blip here and a blip there, but try to stay even keel for the most part.
Okay. I agree 100%. It is a daily practice. Nobody will ever perfect it, but you get more out of it the more you put in. Uh, what advice would you give to anybody that has been in your circumstance and faced a similar trauma as you?
Um, I would say that if they're facing similar traumas that I went through, there's help out there. You don't have to live with this fear of abandonment that you may have, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. Um, there's plenty of people out there that want to help and that can help, and you can live. You know, if your life is fulfilling now, it can be 10 times more fulfilling once you deal with the stuff that you are dealing with.
What would you or have you said to the people that you feel perpetrated your trauma or caused you harm?
Um, basically, that I've forgiven them. And again, I take my share of the blame for my relationships and everything, but like, for my birth mom, we'll just say, and my birth father, um, yeah, I don't have any animosity towards them. I've never have. That's the funny thing is I've never have. So to say I really forgive them is probably might be a little bit misleading. I guess the forgiveness part deals with the relationship end of things, but with the birth parents, it's more or less, I get it. You were young, you didn't know what to do, you did the best thing you thought you were doing. Thank you. Truly, thank you. Um, Gave me a great life, and it's the only part of that is it's a shame that we we can't be adults and get together and just have a cup of coffee and just talk.
You and I both are fathers of boys,
Mhm.
and I have you on and other men specifically because of the vulnerability question. It's pretty difficult for men to be vulnerable about their feelings, about their fears, about this stuff. What advice do you give to your sons?
Um, I guess the advice I gave to my sons is the way I acted towards them. Meaning I was not afraid to cry in front of my kids. Um, I was not afraid to be, I don't want to say authoritative to my kids, but be a disciplinary to my kids. Um, I was not afraid to say, I really screwed the pooch on that one. Sorry, guys. Um, and I told them many times, growing up, I said, there's no manual for how to be a good dad, how to be a good parent. I said, I am winging it the best I can, what I think is good, based on my upbringing, my morals, my values, what I want to still instill in you guys. Um, and to this day, they both are, it's taken a while, but they're both grateful for that.
Well, it is absolutely clear, Jay, that you have done all of the work needed to overcome your trauma to be a productive member of society. Like I said, I can't thank you enough for being vulnerable and talking about your experience here today.
Yeah.
And I wish you the absolute best going forward. So what do you want to tell the people what you're up to and where they can find you or the anything you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I live in now I live in Indiana, northern Indiana. I'm a nurse anesthetist. I do anesthesia for a living. Been doing it for almost 21 years now. Um, yeah, I used to play baseball, semi-pro up until in the semi-pro league down in North Carolina up until I was like 50. Um, and played at a very high level. And now I just play golf.
Sounds like a great life. I can't wait until I can get there. I'm still chasing that baseball dream.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know when I finally put the spikes down. But Jay, thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the best in life going forward, and to you and your family. If you have a story you'd like to share with the Honesty Experiment, please get in touch with me. I am Eric Ruth. I can be found at thegoodly25@gmail.com or thehonestyexperiment.com. Thank you much.